Julia ending. Like the pioneer just told us that Julia was a liar, right? Pretty sure. And then we started to leave. But we pissed him off. Like he wasn't so sure of himself this ending. To my surprise, the pioneer didn't even try to stop me. I returned to the cabin and found Julia carefully combing her tail. You were talking to him again. How do you know? For a moment I had doubts. Yeah, he told us that we always return no matter what. And said he claimed that she knew that, but like we don't know that for a fact. Maybe she does. I just guessed he's supposed to appear. He's supposed to appear when you're alone. Yes, and? He told me that nobody disappears, that we come back. Julia didn't answer anything. Is that so? I asked. To tell you the truth, I don't know. I sat on the bed beside her and began to think. I don't know how long we were sitting there, but soon I started to fall asleep. Let's go watch the stars. Let's go. I wanted to sleep badly, but at the same time I felt a sense of incompleteness, and I was hoping that fresh air would clear my thoughts. A few minutes later, we were at the square. I sat on the bench and Julia put her head in my lap and stared at the sky. Isn't it beautiful? It is. We sat in silence for quite a long time. So what will happen tomorrow? What do you mean? Well, tomorrow is the 7th day, so it's time to leave. Do you want to leave? Suddenly I was struck by a realization. I've heard this question many times before. According to you and him, even if I don't want to, I must. So let's leave, she smiled. Will you come with me? Of course I will. After all, this you must definitely marry me. I don't know of a single administration that would register marriages with cat girls. So we'll look for one. Okay, seriously though, what will happen tomorrow? In the evening the bus will come. Are you sure about that? Absolutely sure, it always comes. And we will take it. And then? Why are you asking all these stupid questions? Julia protested. How should I know? Well, make a guess. And we will go back to your world. That would be... I stopped. We'll see, I sighed. And what about you and your many selves? I only look like this here, right? Over there I will be just regular me. Sure, with cat ears and a tail. Julia hit me painfully in the ribs. Hey, I'm just joking. Maybe without a tail, she said sadly. No, I like it. Don't think anything like that. She said nothing, just closed her eyes. And what's it's like over there? It's different. That's the best way I can put it. Some things are better, some are worse. We've got internet, I chuckled. And what would I do there? Well, I don't know. Let's solve the problems as they come. All right. We sat there for a long time talking about all sorts of foolish things. Finally, Julia said, let's go to sleep. Yes, good timing. I felt a wave of terrible fatigue. Tomorrow it's time to pack our things. But I have nothing to pack. How about that? He has nothing to pack. But you know what? I have, for example. I giggled naturally. Never mind. You just can't imagine what she was planning to take. What about my supplies for winter? Apple, nuts, mushrooms. Do you really think you'll need all that? How would she know? Of course. She jumped up and looked at me sternly. I'm going to sleep and you can do whatever you want. With these words, Julia marched briskly towards the camp leader's cabin. Hey, I rushed after her. After entering the cabin, Julia immediately undressed, snuck into the bed and pulled the blanket over her head. I didn't mean anything like that. If you want to take your stores, let's take them. In the end, they could be useful to us, especially in my situation where anything could happen. I was just joking. She peeked out from under the blanket and stuck out her tongue. And now sleep, commanded Julia. I didn't mind, so I undressed, lay down beside her and fell asleep. And we fell asleep holding each other. Wait a full more day before the last day, eh? I had a strange dream. No, of course being here in this camp was extremely strange by itself, incomparable with any normal nighttime dreams. However, in this dream everything seemed so real that... But when I woke up I couldn't remember a thing. There were only vague images of a long driveway, an old rusted bus, rickety gates of the camp, collapsed statues of pioneers, and an abandoned square. I ran through Sovjeonok back and forth as if trying to find someone. But exactly who remained a mystery to me. When I woke up, the sun was already setting. A bright sunbeam was lighting up the dust drifting in the silence of the room and painting it with all colors of the rainbow. Reflections on the glass took on different outlines. Look from one angle and it's just a spot of sunlight. Look from another and it's a pirate waving his cutlass. I stretched lazily and yawned. Turning to the other side, I saw Julia sleeping peacefully next to me. "Good morning," said Julia without opening her eyes. "It's daytime already." "Morning starts when you wake up." We're talking just the same way I did before. So now you changed your mind? Well, I don't know. During the last week I got used to getting up in the morning. It was not entirely true, because I didn't always wake up with the sunrise and regularly missed the lineups. "You want to say that you've changed?" she giggled. "I think any man in my position would change, at least a little." It seemed quite natural to me. "Yes, perhaps, I won't argue." Long silence followed. The kind of silence where you are not tortured by the need to say something, just to break the oppressive awkwardness. The silence could say more than any words. "Well, we're leaving today?" I asked finally. "I think so." "You think? You mean you're not even sure?" "Not completely. This is happening for the first time." "You mean the disappearance of the pioneers?" "Not just that." She got out of bed and started to dress. I looked at her, mesmerized, unable to look away. "What are you looking at? Get up, it's time to pack." "You mean your berries and mushrooms?" "Of course." Julia stood arms akimbo and looked at me resentfully. "Is that akimbo?" "I don't know. Probably." "Do you want all my supplies to be gone?" "Of course I don't." To tell the truth, I didn't really give a damn about them. To be precise, I just don't see the point in stocking food for a one-way journey. Yeah, that explains why they have been, like, going out on hikes. What they've thought to be one-way hikes many times and not bringing water. It doesn't seem the point, eh? At least without a return ticket for sure. I mean, if it is a one-way, that is an argument to bring supplies, stocking food. Like, if you don't know what will happen. What if there is no food where you're going? For like a week? Then you would be happy. A few minutes later, we were standing in the same forest glade where the day before Julia had been sprinkling mushrooms with sugar. She went behind a tree, threw aside the leaves, and pulled out a heavy sack. All this. This isn't all, this is just what's necessary. I couldn't put what I planned to say in a nice way, so I decided to say nothing. The sack was filled with mushrooms, berries, apples, and nuts. A little mixed up. I immediately had serious doubts about these fitness for humans consumptions. I immediately had serious doubts about the fitness for human consumptions of this asserted lot. Take it, said Julia, pointing at the sack with an easy smile. Well, I hope you understand that I won't be able to... No, you're strong. Look how massive you are. She used her hands to indicate the difference in our heights. I tried to lift the sack. It weighed at least 30 kilos. Ooh. Sorry, I can't translate that to... I mean, I could, but 30 kilos is half a tiny human. Like I weigh, I don't know, 80, 90, something like that. Yeah, I weigh 80, 90, something like that. So a third of me, probably. I'm not super fat. I think I'm quite normal in weight distribution. Maybe a little bit above average. Let's take only some of it. We won't be able to eat all this anyway. I was trying to cheat. Why not? Winters are long in these lands. How would you know that? I guessed. I tried to make the most painful grimace I could. I can manage it to the square at most. Have mercy on me. Julia thought a little. Okay then, throw out the berries. What a great solution. Get rid of the lightest stuff. However, I didn't object, so I put my hand in the sack. Can't say it got any lighter, I said when I finished with the berries. I don't want to hear it. It sighed and sank helplessly to the ground next to the sack. Then let's carry it in turns. Why aren't you just helping each other and carry it together? But it's heavy, exclaimed Julia. That's what I'm telling you. I mean, it's heavy for me. I said if it's light for me, I muttered under my breath, trying to make Julia not hear it. It is light for you. It seems I should not underestimate her cat ears. Okay, let's come back here later. For now, it would be nice to have something to eat. Well, maybe, she smiled and held out her hand to me. The canteen was filled with the smell of fried potatoes. Julia flittered around me, watching me cook. All right. Tell the truth, I never found any special pleasure in doing this. I always wanted to start eating immediately without waiting for all the ingredients to be prepared. The water to boil, the dumplings to float up. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't have... aesthetic bone in my body. Well, aesthetic? I'm not an artist. Let's put it that way. So I don't find enjoyment in... in cooking. I just want it to be over and done with as fast as possible. I mean, I am... when I cook for others, spend more time, trying to make it taste better, I suppose. Yeah, feeding other people. But it's still, for me, it's not... I'm still trying to do it fast, right? Min-maxing. That's why I'm usually fine with eating sandwiches or fast food. You're doing so well. I told you there's nothing special to it. But, she tried to find words. But you're doing well anyway. I'm glad you like it. Of course I like it. Judging by the way Julia was demolishing the potatoes, she actually enjoyed my simple culinary creation. Are you worried? Chew first, then speak. What a lout! You must behave in polite society. And what kind of society are we in here? Julia spread her hands to the sides and laughed. That was true, the canteen was empty, just like the whole camp. What do you think? Where are they all gone to? How should I know? She picked up the last piece with her fork and deftly popped it into her mouth. You missed them? Sort of. What about me? I'm better than any stray dog. Another quote. I didn't pay any special attention to it this time. Given that you're some kind of cat, you definitely got your quotes right. Are you feeling lonely? Well, I'm not alone here. Just the two of us. But if what had happened didn't happen, we may be... I stopped for a moment. So, in other realities, you and me weren't so... close? Julia finished for me. Yes. No. It's strange. Why? Well, because there are a lot of camps, as you say, and according to the theory of probability, which means that everything that happened within the last 2 days is really something exceptional. You say it if that is a bad thing. Of course not. I felt blush run to my head. Just strange. There are a lot of strange things here. That is why I use that word so often. Anyway, you're just nitpicking. Me? Who? Me? Never. She laughed. No, you are seriously nitpicking. Especially when it comes to words. Why would I do that? I can't even imagine. You'd know better. Seems like for any of my arguments, she already had an answer prepared, as if she knew in advance what I would say. She might. Forget it. So, let's go. Where? I realized that saying this was a big mistake. Now she'll definitely drag me back to the sack. Well, there's enough time till the bus arrives, so we could... Oh, right, the supplies. I just scratched my chin and followed her. Epic fail. Carrying nearly 25 kilos is not easy, even for a short distance. I stopped every 50 meters to rest. Julia hurried and encouraged me, but it was just making things worse. I don't know if I deserved a medal in some strange sack of Catgirl Supplies short distance carrying event, but about an hour later the sack was transported to the bus stop. I collapsed beside it, exhausted. That is it. You're such a hero. See? Nothing to be afraid of. My whole body ached, my muscle burned, and rivers of sweat flowed from my forehead, stinging my eyes. I don't know what reward I was owed for this, but this competition was more like the Olympics for mentally challenged people. Though I won, I'm still a retard. Oh, that didn't age very well. Did it? Look, the bus is coming. What? It jumped up, my fatigue vanished in an instant. Something could indeed be seen in the distance. I'm curious. They've never talked about drivers. Well, a couple of times. Well, I'm gonna be curious who's gonna be driving. I narrowed my eyes and saw the Icarus. But why? Julia told me that it would arrive closer to the night. Moreover, I'd expect the Liaz bus. Soon the bus stopped in front of us and the door opened, inviting us in. The driver's seat was empty, but I was not really surprised. Much stranger things had happened here. Right? Coming? Julia easily jumped onto the first step and gestured me to follow her. Don't you think it's weird that buses go by themselves? Well, she thought about that. Of course it's strange, but you said yourself there are plenty of strange things here. Yes, she was right on that one. Anyway, I had no choice. In either case, whether I stay or whether I go on the bus, I'm not sure about what will come next. But in case of the second choice, I had at least an illusory hope of escaping from this camp. I sighed and with one last effort lifted the sack and got onto the bus. We drove for about an hour. Julia was constantly chattering about something, but I wasn't listening. I carefully studied the passing landscape through the window. Forests, fields, rivers, forests, fields, absolutely nothing suspicious. On the one hand, this gave me some hope, but on the other, it was a sign that in the end nothing will change, because in this world it seems everything is slow and measured, following its well-established rules. That's how it was at least a few days ago. Although maybe I shouldn't be drawing conclusions after having been there only a week. Maybe you shouldn't. Well, now I'm sure everything will be fine, said Julia. I looked at her carefully. Cat ears, long tail that moved rhythmically back and forth, slightly enlarged fangs. She's never had fangs in the pictures, I don't think. Wait. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Julia seemed like a character from a fairy tale. Yep, pretty much. We can decide what to do with her in the real world later. I was turning into one big throbbing vein, ready to burst any moment. That was a bit much even for this, right? I was waiting, getting blue-balled, waiting for how this will end. The result could be anything. For me, it was important not to go crazy ahead of time. My nerves were stretched to the limit, and I tried not to think about anything. But it was impossible to distract myself. Well, distract oneself would be trying to think about something else, right? Trying not to think about anything. That's meditation. No? Hey, are you even listening? Huh? No, sorry, I was deep in thought. Well, as always, she pouted. Now, such a big moment, you know? We can't get out of this camp, so it's a very important moment for me. Well, it's important for me too, but I'm not worried. You simply can't see this in context. What do you mean? Before, I lived in a different world, the real one, as it seemed. So I have something to compare this camp to. And you, we can say, were born here. No, I wasn't. How do you know? I just know. I know that. The bus peacefully bounced over the bumps, shaking me more and more. The steering wheel was turning on its own, and I soon stopped noticing the absence of a driver. My eyes began to close, and I dozed off. Some girl bent over me. She was gently whispering something in my ear, so tenderly that I felt a strong blow on the head. Hey, don't sleep. Am I disturbing you? I asked in annoyance, rubbing the bruised place. You're not listening to me. If we escape from here, we'll have lots of time for conversation. If we don't escape, then we will have even more time. I tried to smile, but just thinking that we wouldn't ever leave this camp frightened me a lot, so I just gave a stupid grin. It's better if we don't escape, because in your world, I don't know what to expect there, but you won't pay any attention to me at all. I will, I promise, I hugged her sincerely. Really, truly? Really, truly. Julia leaned against me. And you'll listen to me? Of course. And you'll always agree with me? Sure. Wait, what? She pulled away and looked into my eyes. Yeah, what the fuck was that about? No? Well, then I forgive you. What the fuck? That... A loud laugh filled the bus cabin. That's fucked up, man. You will always agree with me? And he just says, sure. And she says, then I forgive you? That's madness. You're being mad. But be careful. Don't you forget about that or try to deceive me. Want to sign a contract? A marriage contract? I don't have the property for that anyways. But I do. Julia pointed at the bag lying in the aisle. Well then, I tried to remember what I'd bought with my money. Here. Took my mobile phone out of my pocket. By this time, it was already out of charge. What's that? Julia asked curiously, taking the mobile. A very useful thing in my world. You can communicate with people at a distance. Wow, that's really cool. Excellent. That will do. She put the mobile on the seat. Deal then? Deal then. My supplies for the winter are from me, and from you is that thing. Okay, deal. That's a terrible deal. Alright, now we're husband and wife. She smiled slyly. Hey, wait, I suddenly remembered that all this conversation had started with a marriage contract. Anyway, without official registration. When we get to your world, we will register our marriage. A man without a wife. It's like a kitchen without a knife. No? How about no? I don't have a wife. I don't feel like a kitchen without a knife. If we get there, of course. Julia said nothing, but just stared straight forward with her eyes wide open. I followed her gaze and realized that the bus was full of people. All of them were wearing pioneer uniforms, and they all looked exactly like that pioneer. Nobody said a single word. They just looked silently in my direction. Ooh. Could not see their faces, clothes, statures, yes, but their faces were shrouded in shadows that seemed to appear from nowhere. It was as if instead of the heads that normal people have, they had mini black holes. I started to shiver and my back broke out in goosebumps. Julia squeezed my hand. With an enormous effort, I forced myself to look at her. She was very scared too. If I was alone at that moment, I would have probably fainted. But right now, I was responsible for more than only my own life. Who are you? I gritted out with difficulty. The pioneers maintained the terrifying silence. It became hard to breathe. I was gasping for breath, but my brain refused to work on low oxygen, and I lost consciousness for a moment. Who are you? What do you want? I heard Julia shout as just I regained my senses. A pioneer stood up from the first seat and walked towards us. Hey, Simeon, we have decided to go back home too. Too, a chorus of voices filled the bus. We'll keep you company. I didn't know what to say. This was the strangest situation I had yet experienced in this camp. Neither Julia, nor the city, nor the disappearance of the pioneers, nor this strange person standing in front of me was comparable with this. I ask you a question. It seemed like Julia was still able to speak clearly. Not a surprise, in the end, she was still, you could say, an extraordinary being. I repeat, we're just going home. His voice sounded frantic. Are we bothering you? Bothering. What do you want from us? Nothing at all. Nothing. I don't believe you. I know there's a reason for you to be doing all this. It's just your imagination, animal. Maybe I'm an animal. But what are you? A ghost? A shadow? Maybe ghosts have their rights too. Nope, no rights. No rights. Indeed, no rights. You have to get the hell out of here, shouted Julia so loud that my ears rang, but neither the pioneers nor his companions reacted. I guess we'll stay, he said maliciously. But how did you manage this? And all the others? At last I gathered the strength to speak. It's simple, my dear friend. Collective mind heard about it. And so every one of us wanted to wish you luck simultaneously, that's all. Luck. In person, I would say. That's the reason we are here. But what will happen next? Honestly, I have no idea. Get out, shouted Julia again. Be cool, you. Settle down. You see, he addressed me again. I don't want to hide anything from you. You have a good chance to get out of here now. I don't exactly know why, but your actions broke the cycle. Cycles, to be precise. All of our cycles. And there's a chance that we won't have to leave the camp every 7 days and return back on the 8th, waking up on this bus. Then don't return, just die. It's not that simple. And why shouldn't we have a sense of self-preservation? We should, right? He asked the pioneers. Should, I heard their response. So we decided to keep you company. Now, either we will all get out of here together, or we will all vanish forever together, or start another cycle. All 3 options suits us. And what if we die because of you? Well, you won't die alone. We'll die with honor. Honor. Or do you think that our lives, he laughed, well, what we call lives, are they not as important as yours? Of course not. Julia didn't know how to answer. Well, of course not. Like, from his perspective, their lives are not as important. And don't think that all of us are here. In fact, many more of us didn't fit in. But there were enough tickets for everyone. You. Julia hissed. It's too late. I suggest you calm down and enjoy the flight. Stewardesses will offer you food and drinks in a couple of minutes. He grinned and went back to his place. Julia jumped up, but I stopped her. Let me go, I'll take him down. No need. What can you do to him? What good will it do? She looked at me in surprise, but sat down. So what, are you suggesting that we don't do anything and just wait? What can we do? I don't know, but we shouldn't just be sitting. I've learned one thing in this camp. Very little is up to me. Actually, nothing at all, especially now, especially here. I have not the slightest idea what to do to drive them out of here. But even if I knew, I'm sure that nothing would change. Nothing would affect the final outcome. You may be right, Julia said in a sad voice. We can only wait then. It won't take long. She put her head on my shoulder. We had been going for such a long time, it seemed like an eternity. The sun had set and night fell. Seconds lasted for hours, minutes for years. The The pioneers remained dead silent, and even that one, the arrogant one, didn't try to start a conversation. The silence was louder than any shouts. Quite clap would be enough to make my eardrums explode. Me and Julia stayed silent too. Everything had been said today. There were no words left. I felt totally empty. My head was as heavy as lead, and it seemed that I was already dead. But God and the devil had just forgotten about me, so I would have to spend the rest of eternity alone with this silent mass of pioneers. Are they really my colleagues in misfortune? Did they really come to this camp to spend a week here and then leave? And then do it all over again? Maybe it would be the same for me, as the pioneer said. Anything is possible. Anything is possible now. I heard a quiet snoring from Julia. She'd fallen asleep. All the stress must have been too much for her. Or maybe she used up all her energy shouting. In any case, it's better to face the end while sleeping. Now I was absolutely certain that this was the end. It's stupid to cling to hope while standing on the edge of the cliff, surrounded by countless enemies. And even if there was the smallest chance of rescue, you wouldn't really think about it. Maybe it shouldn't be this way, and someone else would have more optimism in my place. I just had to take the last step. Why though? These are not stairs, but an escalator. It will get me to the finish in any case. I closed my eyes and my consciousness left me at once. I fell asleep. I don't know whether it would last for an hour or for an eternity. Emptiness is not the best place for thoughts. When there is nothing, the essence of the normal world would disappear. No, the essence of the normal world disappears. In the end, thoughts are part of it too, just an immaterial one. It is difficult to imagine where existence ends. A person is not supposed to figure it out. Well, I don't know, supposed? I regained consciousness in complete darkness. To be precise, I regained the ability to perceive myself as a person. There was nothing else, neither around me nor inside me. It was like I ceased to exist. I was erased from the universe. But I wasn't dead, no. It was totally different. As if I had moved from three-dimensional space to one-dimensional space. The whole world compressed to the size of one dot. That dot was me, was everything. I was everything, and at the same time I was nothing. However, my consciousness, my memories, my soul went into that tiny patch too. I wasn't afraid, maybe because there was no need, or maybe because I still couldn't understand what was happening. All sense of time was lost here. There was simply no such term here. That's why it was impossible to tell how long I had been in that emptiness. Finally, after an hour or a year, I started to hear a quiet voice. I couldn't make out the words, but I was the one it spoke to. Actually, there was no one else. The voice said, "Semyon, Semyon." "Yes?" I replied as if answering a phone. "Nice to meet you." The voice sounded very close. ... We've known each other for a long time, though. Who are you? I am you. Did I die? No, nothing like that. The voice sounded calm, as if speaking to an old friend. What's happening to me? You reached the end of your path. What path? You've managed to leave the camp. Camp, yes, I remember. The Sovyanok pioneer camp. I suddenly remembered the last 7 days. I remember how long I was leaving there together with Julia. Where is Julia? Yes, she's right here. I looked around. There was only emptiness around. I don't see her. You shouldn't see, you should feel. I wasn't tense at all, as if I was recovering from anesthesia. I don't feel anything. You just have to remember. After these words, thousands of pictures, images, smells, thoughts reappeared in my mind. The camp was there for real, with Slavia, with Lena, with Alisa, with Juliana, with Masha. And then, but how? I clearly remember that I left it and came back to the real world. And then I met Slavia at a bus stop. No, I met Juliana at the university. No, I met Alisa at a concert. But I have lived with Lena for so many years. No, I had a completely different life with Masha. How is all this even possible? I remembered events of almost 5 lifespans in the smallest of detail, but everything happened simultaneously. And I'm sure that it was all real. What about all the other Semyons? This was just the ones we played through, right? What about the other ones? How? Yes, it all really happened to you. But how? You left the camp not just once. Then you lived your normal life. Then you came back and left again. So, was it like I died and was revived? No, you can think that it all happened simultaneously. I don't understand. You don't need to. And who were those pioneers? They are you too, huh? He created them, the other sides of you. I don't understand. Every person is an endless universe. His own actions determine how his life will proceed. You remember those 5 times because those were the times that you took choices that led you out of the camp. Your other replicas acted differently somewhere. That's it. It's all that simple. For me, it wasn't that simple. And what is this camp? You can consider it a testing ground. And who are you? I am you, but from a long time after. Not time as you see it. I am beyond and above all of you. You can consider me the prime Semyon. So you are the reason for all this. That's not exactly true. Everything did not happen according to my will. But I can control these events. But why? Are you against it? I lost myself in thought, at least as lost as was possible in such an obscure state as mine. Yeah, it kind of feels like becoming a cyborg, creating your own universe within. You would get bored if you were alone, right? So what do? You fragment your own self and create copies of yourself, and like if you're all powerful about creating the world, you fragment your own mind and have all these experiences, right? From different points of view. You don't value one higher than the other. It's just you try to keep your mind occupied doing stuff, I guess. I don't know. If you were given an option now, when you know and remember everything, would you really decide to take it back to the start and just forget everything? I don't know. I wasn't ready to answer such a difficult question. Anyway, where's Julia? She's right here. Where? Inside of you. How's that? Julia is your inner world. your consciousness, which had gained form. Couldn't comprehend these words. You don't need to try to understand, I already said, but felt that I missed her. Don't be afraid, she will always be with you. I don't think I wanted this exact union just yesterday. Wait, I don't think I wanted this exact union just yesterday. The hardest thing is to make inner peace, not peace with an enemy. And you have done it. If you want to love her, you have to learn how to love yourself. Well, that's enough for you. It is time for me to leave. Wait, what will happen to me? You'll go back. I already didn't understand what was real and what was not, or how many realities there are. Where to? It depends only on you. I don't understand. You have remembered all possible variations of events now. He paused for a long time, and I didn't dare say anything, so just so I wouldn't accidentally interrupt him. So you have at least 5 options. Will I remember all this? That's up to you to decide. A trace of emotion appeared in his voice for a moment, maybe joy or maybe dissatisfaction. Farewell, but I could feel the voice will never speak to me again. Time passed. I tried to decide what to do next. If everything is as he said, then I just have to wish. By that time I had completely calmed down, and you could even say cheered up a bit. I was totally sure that I had got out of that enchanted camp. Moreover, a bright future awaited me. I didn't know it, I remembered it. But what should I choose? I closed my eyes and clearly imagined Slavia smiling at me. She was always willing to help me and never scolded me for anything. It is always calm and safe being with her. That meeting at the bus stop, I guess I never thought about being with her in real life, but that would be amazing, I'm sure. Throughout so many years, Lena had grown truly precious to me. I actually remembered all that time I spent with her. I remembered our kids, remembered our times of joy and sorrow, remembered everything. It is hard to reject all that. Or Elisa dearly hugging her guitar. It's never boring with her. Maybe that's the life I've always dreamed of, simply laid back and fun. Maybe that's the girl I ever wished for, a loyal tomboy. Lisa's image in my thoughts smiled slyly. The grown-up Uliana seemed like a good option too. Of course, back in the camp I didn't treat her as a woman, but now, obviously, she got her cons, but at the same time there was a sense of magic in her, something attractive. And of course Miku, Masha, from that other life, she was truly precious to me. Maybe back there in the camp is just small episodes, and I might be a completely different person from myself in all other paths. But that's for the best. New opportunities, possibilities. And that person I love, a person who seemingly knew my entire life. But it is still sad I will never see Julia again. You certainly will, said Julia. Her voice sounded in my head. What? Where are you? I'm right here, like he said. You knew? No, I understood it only when we came here. Are you okay with it? Won't you miss me? Of course not. I will always be with you. ... Do you remember your promise? What promise? That you will always be with me. Yes. Don't ever think to break it. I'll be watching you. I don't know if I will ever speak to her like that again. Maybe one could simply go nuts from that. But right now, I was happy. Alright, I won't forget. Then you just have to make a choice. Felt Julia disappear, vanishing in the labyrinth of my mind. Well, it's time. I close my eyes tight and... ... my eyes were struck by the bright sunlight. No surprising about that, it is summer after all. It's that strange dream again. Why did I start seeing it so often recently? Maybe there's a reason. Still, why? Pioneer camp, some girls, the camp leader. I'd never been to the camp. Maybe you just don't remember. Very funny. But what if? Trust me, I clearly remember everything has happened to me since I was 3 years old. And before that, I was probably at an unconscious age. Not unconscious, it's just memory worked differently. Even if that is true, all of this is not accidental. Why is it not accidental? There are people who see a black cat in their dreams every night and nothing happens. Did you just make that up? I haven't made anything up, I read about it recently. A black cat is one thing, such a detailed dream is something else. I don't see much difference. Okay then, what would you say about that voice? What voice? Don't play the fool. I wasn't planning to. Which told you to make a choice. Well, a voice. So what? There was a reason. But I don't remember anything else. The dream ends there. Maybe you forget it when you wake up. Maybe, but what? That means you actually made a choice. I don't even remember the options. Were there any? Should have been. You don't even try to be serious about the important things, as always. Oh my god, it's so important. There's no point in talking to you. Recently, I started to notice that I have something like a split personality. An inner monologue is certainly a normal phenomenon for any person, but when it turns into a dialogue, well, it is still a long way from being a clinical case because I talk to myself and not another personality inside my mind. Maybe with my own subconscious. However, that is not important. Wait. I'm guessing this is just... I don't understand. I'm guessing choose Julia is the way to go. Right? Like if you choose any of these, we will probably just go to those endings that we've already seen, but Julia seems like a new ending, so choose Julia. I turned over to the other side. The bright sun still shined into my eyes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, I replied. Choice. Did I even have a choice? Every story has its beginning and its end. Every story has its canvas, synopsis, content, and key moments, prologue and epilogue. And there's no book that we've seen all this. But every book has a last page, and after turning it over, we put the book on the shelf, just to open a new one tomorrow. What? That's it? A cat is fine too. Question mark end? That's the Julia ending, right? Alright, so we want to try something. If we go here, save that, and then we load autosave. Yeah, we can load from here. Yes. And we choose Slavia and we see what happens. I turned over to the other side. The bright sun still shined in my eyes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, I replied. Choice? Did I even have a choice? Well, that's an introduction, says Banana Waffle Monkey. Introduction? It's an end. And the only thing is changing is our hair color, right? That's the only difference this choice is. Like, load this game? Yes, load this game. If you choose Lena, will get purple hair. Yeah. Oh, Banana Wolf Monkey just got back. Oh, do you want to tell me what happened? Nah, yeah. So this was the weird ending. We merged with whoever, right? That was one ending, that all of this was just a dream from another person that has a split personality where they have, it's the I person, the Semyon person, and then Lena or Julia or whatever. It's a split personality that has this dream. So all the sex that the Semyon has been having has been just masturbation throughout the whole game. Which checks out. It checks out. Yeah, that's the end. Now, wait, no. Main menu. Yes. They said from settings. Here we go. Mods and user scenarios. One Pioneer story. They said that this here gives even more information. I'm considering here though. So does that mean that the harem ending is all of the girls showed up? So he's super split personality there, right? Well, not split personality per se. It's not like they take control. It's like he has multiple personalities, but they are all there at the same time. It's not like split personality that one time he's that person and doesn't know what the other person does. It's like they're all conscious within his mind. Well, the both of them are, I suppose. So the harem ending is all of them showing up. No. That is still a dream. Like, he waking up and living in the harem with all those girls is still a dream. I think. I wonder how long this is. But right, I mean, isn't that like a cliched thing? Like a little bit of a joke? But like, you write a long story and then you end the story with just, oh, I don't know how to end the story, so it was all just a dream. It was all just a dream. Semyon wasn't real. Nothing was real. It was all just a dream from a... maybe not even a human mind. Maybe it's a different kind of mind, like the cat girl thing. Different personas within... I don't know. I just want to see what happens when I click here. Oh. Breath? Heavy breathing here, so what's happening? It's the camp. We're running. This kind of feels like it's a DLC ending, just to add some explanation to what's going on, I guess. Suddenly horrifying. Yeah, the breath. I don't know, horrifying. It's annoying more. My world is empty as I am. I destroyed myself to become a whole world, a world of emptiness that destroyed me. I believed I had someone's fate in my hands, the power to end the lives of others. But I was only wandering in the darkness, vainly hiding from any new beam of light, every one of which was only spawning empty shadows. Every shadow was my faceless reaction, a cloud of absolute darkness with a single goal to consume me. I was hiding from them, merging with them. They were becoming me and I was becoming them, and finally it didn't matter which one of us is on that side of the mirror. Although in this case, it's not just a cliched phrase or the reflection of a crude loser. It is a fact. Even though this wasn't the case before, even though before the worlds were many and my life could be called a life, because it all ended in a single moment. First was this damned bus again everywhere, a crowd of those joyful, whooping pioneers around, the same as me, and then again and again, like a vivid kaleidoscope of faces, events, emotions and feelings, but who the hell cares anymore? You know, if a man has died, he will regret what he didn't have time for, what he didn't do, what he didn't say, rather than exactly how his life journey ended. I mean, they say that, but like, you can't ask someone after they die. You can ask them when they're old, right? Or maybe in the face of death, I suppose, but not after they die. But am I in one of those places where the souls go after death? And everything could have been different too. It doesn't matter that the end is always one and the same. If the road to it can vary, it depends on my choice. It did before, so when did everything change? It kind of sounds like this is a different Semyon. One of those 5 that didn't come out. Like one of the rejected ones? The different versions of events, the lines of life, the people's fates seem to intertwine several times over, resulting in something like a rope of doom which you could only hang yourself on. Banana Waffle Monkey says, "Hey, could you kindly undie for a second? I need you to resolve some long-standing theological conflicts real quick." Cast Speak with Dead. Speak with Dead. But that's not how Speak with Dead works. Well, people have died and become revived, I suppose. Like people... yeah, I've heard like plenty of times, like they've said, "Oh, I was dead for 7 minutes before they managed to revive me," or whatever. I've heard that. And like, even if they did, it's like, well, that's just their experience, right? They're not trustworthy at all. Like, they could have end-of-life hallucinations. Like, I find that so interesting. Like, all the near-death experiences. Like, there is this cliche. They say, "Oh, I saw the light in the end of the tunnel. Right? We probably heard that. Like, and a lot of people has just, like, the assumption that I feel is that people assume that the light of the end of the tunnel is like moving towards heaven or whatever. But in my mind, it's like, well, if you're almost dead, it's just blackness, darkness, right? And then you come back to life, and then there is the light. Well, like when people say don't go towards the light, well, don't go towards the light if you want to die. Go towards the light if you want to live. It's kind of how it would make sense to me, right? Like your consciousness dies or disappears, you lose consciousness or whatever, but then you regain consciousness. And there's the light. That's the way I've been thinking about it anyway. I have no idea though, I've never had a near-death experience. I don't know if the experience is something like that at all, or maybe it's not a uniform experience, right? Maybe there was an actual light, the sun or like a lamp or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? So when did it all change? Surely not in a single day, a single hour, but certainly so fast that I didn't even have time to notice. The rays of the summer sun shined into my eyes, a summer one. Well, who would have thought? What a surprise! But it was winter yesterday, or was it yesterday? I know there's a pack of cigarettes and a matchbox tucked away in the driver's glove box. My head spun from its deep breaths. I inhaled, and the nasty smell of menthol fettered my brain with a chill. Cosmos for export. They could damn well make stuff for export then, unlike now. Nuclear reactors, rifles, cigarettes, and communism. Lots of communism. In boxes, crates, containers, in the cargo holds of ships, in the freight sections of planes, in the goods wagons of trains, even in the spaceships. Yeah, this is a DLC. They added this part of the game like later. Way later, probably, I guess. Ever more communism. The Pygmies of Africa. Incans of South Africa. Papuans of New Guinea. Ah, says Banana Waffle Monkey. Yeah, it must be. Like, we played, like, both the harem ending and the question mark ending. Those were the real endings. But as Colgate In on Tap said, this ending gives us some more explanations. He claims, anyway. So maybe. It is lunchtime. I feel like, yeah, I might as well end this. And I guess we can drop a package for the penguins in Antarctica. Oh, I'm raving. Finishing the third cigarette, I stared at the gates and started to wait. I mean, this is all different. This is a dude who knows what's going on. Right? He knew where the cigarettes were. He knows. So it's kind of a flip. I'm actually quite interested to see this ending as well. Nope, that's the autosave. I will probably, even though I have been whining, I will probably go through this ending as well. Tomorrow, though. It'll probably be another couple of days of Everlasting Summer before we start the next. Yeah. What's it called again? To Burn in Memory, yes. Few more days of Everlasting Summer before To Burn in Memory. Yeah, right. So, thanks for hanging out today. And see ya next time. Cheers.